Thank you, Madam Chair, members of this committee. It's a privilege to be with you to share my testimony today. My name is Vanessa Sivadge, and I'm a registered nurse. For the past 6 years, I was employed at Texas Children's Hospital in a pediatric multi-specialty clinic. On June 18th of this year, I went public with my name and my identity to reveal that Texas Children's Hospital was fraudulently billing Texas Medicaid for transgender procedures and cross-sex hormones administered to minors. I blew the whistle to expose how Texas Children's Hospital, the largest children's hospital in the world, its health maintenance organization, and 2 endocrinologists in its transgender program, Dr. David Paul and Dr. Richard Roberts, provided false diagnoses and submitted false records to Texas Medicaid to fraudulently obtain federal dollars for transgender procedures on minors that were ineligible for reimbursement. Potentially millions or billions of federal funds may have been spent on reimbursements for gender-affirming care under the guise of other reimbursable endocrine disorders. Indeed, Dr. Roberts admitted in an affidavit where he attacked Senate Bill 14, the Texas law now prohibiting these procedures, that he had a, quote, significant number of patients, quote, on Medicaid and CHIP who were receiving transgender hormonal treatments. Since at least 2015, Texas Medicaid has excluded from coverage, quote, sex change operations, experimental treatments, treatments that are not medically necessary, and sterilizations on individuals under 21. I demonstrated that doctors in the hospital's transgender program treated patients solely for gender dysphoria with puberty blocking and sex change hormones that are not covered by Texas Medicaid, that the hospital billed for them using false diagnoses for other disorders that the patients did not have. Therefore, I urge the Texas legislature to investigate whether state funds are fraudulently being used to cover sex change interventions on minors that would otherwise not be reimbursable. And number 2, I also urge the Texas legislature to do everything in its power to protect whistleblowers like me and bring politically motivated attempts to silence them to an end. Whistleblowers perform a vital function in bringing legal and ethical wrongdoing to light. On August 16th, Texas Children's Hospital fired me in retaliation for blowing the whistle on Medicaid fraud. When the hospital placed me on leave in June, they cited 2 reasons. Number 1, my allegations related to Medicaid fraud, and number 2, my request to transfer, which was my email seeking religious accommodation. When I was fired on August 16th, this action was unlawful for 2 reasons. It is retaliation for my coming forward with information on TCH's egregious pattern of deception and fraud, and this action also illegally disregarded my request to transfer due to my religious belief that these procedures bring irreversible harm and lifelong regret to children confused about their sex. So in conclusion, I want to urge members of this committee to take action in 2 ways. Passing legislation, number 1, that will mandate the biological binary sex observed at birth to be the sex listed in every medical record for every man, woman, and child in the state of Texas. And number 2, passing legislation that will require hospitals to include mandatory training for employees on how to understand and know their rights as conscientious objectors in alignment with Title VII. Thank you.
Thank you for coming today. I know you've been through a lot, and I now recognize you from the media. I know it takes a lot of courage. We just had a panel where we asked how some cases are brought to light, and it is from whistleblowers. I did want to ask you on your religious accommodation, which is allowed by law. What kind of religious accommodation did you request?
Yes, I believe that you have a copy of the letter of the communication that I sent to Human Resources, which I can let you read, but basically the gist is I requested an accommodation to transfer out of the multidisciplinary clinic back to my core competency in the cardiology department. And I listed that that was due to my religious belief that children were being harmed in the endocrine clinic, and I could no longer play an indirect role in that.
This has been a very public case. We have not talked about it because I think that there is some court action or legal action being taken, but I guess you're protected as a whistleblower. at this point, although you were fired. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Have you worked with other doctors or nurses that feel the same way and are scared to come forward?
Absolutely. I think that because of the gender affirmation model that is promoted and embraced by not just Texas Children's, but many different hospitals around the nation, it creates this a fear to come forward and to speak for many medical professionals. And just as an example, I was told by superiors that I had to use a child's preferred pronouns. We had mandated training that educated us on the gender fluidity spectrum. And this was very much a top priority, an ideology embraced and promoted by the hospital. And that breeds a lot of fear in conscientious objectors or people who just have concerns. And so many people don't come forward, but I do believe they're out there.
And then I think we passed SB 14 this last session, and although it is being litigated in court, it is still in effect. Am I not right?
Yes. That the Medicaid policy has been in place since 2015, and that specifically prohibited coverage of hormones for minors.
Mr. Sparks.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So do you believe that the doctors that participated in this engaged in fraud for private insurance as well?
I can't speak for private insurance. I just came forward to report what I saw, and that was primarily for Medicaid.
You believe this is still going on?
Yes, I do. Yes, the hospital is still seeing patients over the age of 18, since that is not illegal. And I do believe that the fraud is also happening there.
Well, I appreciate you being here today, and thank you for your courage.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.